The dramatic framing of tragedy in the life of Magic Johnson does not accurately reflect his real story, because while his journey has included serious challenges, most notably his HIV diagnosis in 1991, it is far more appropriately understood as a powerful example of survival, reinvention, and long-term impact rather than heartbreak or decline. And at 66 years old, his life stands as one of the most influential post-career transformations in sports history, where a global basketball icon successfully transitioned into business leadership, health advocacy, and public education after stepping away from professional play at the peak of his athletic fame. Born Evan Johnson Jr., Magic Johnson rose to prominence as one of the greatest point guards in basketball history, leading the Los Angeles Lakers during the Showtime era of the 1980s, where his extraordinary passing ability, court vision, and leadership helped the team win multiple NBA championships and revolutionize the pace and entertainment value of the sport, making him not only a dominant athlete but also a cultural figure whose style of play reshaped how basketball was understood by fans around the world. However, his life took a dramatic turn in 1991 when he publicly announced that he had tested positive for HIV, a moment that shocked the sports world at a time when the disease was heavily stigmatized and widely misunderstood, leading many to assume that his career and future would be defined by decline, fear, or tragedy. But instead Johnson chose to confront the diagnosis openly, using his platform to educate the public, reduce stigma, and advocate for awareness, becoming one of the earliest and most visible figures to transform the conversation around HIV/AIDS in mainstream culture. While he briefly retired from basketball after his diagnosis, he later returned for special appearances, including participation in the 1992 NBA All-Star Game where he earned MVP honors, demonstrating that his identity as an athlete and leader remained intact even under extraordinary personal circumstances. Over time, Johnson shifted his focus away from playing and toward building a highly successful business empire, founding Magic Johnson Enterprises, which invested in urban development, entertainment, sports franchises, and community-focused businesses, particularly in underserved areas, reflecting his long-term commitment to economic empowerment and social impact rather than withdrawal from public life. Alongside his business success, he became a major voice in public health advocacy, working with organizations to promote HIV testing, education, and treatment access, helping reshape public understanding of the disease from a perceived death sentence into a manageable medical condition with proper care, a shift that has saved and improved countless lives. In his personal life, Johnson has also built a stable and visible family foundation, maintaining a long marriage to Cookie Johnson and raising children, including his son E.J. Johnson, while continuing to appear in media, sports commentary, and business forums, showing a life that remains active, engaged, and publicly influential rather than hidden or diminished. The idea that his story is heartbreaking often comes from outdated perceptions of his diagnosis rather than his lived reality today, because modern medicine has allowed him to live a long, healthy, and productive life, and his public openness has helped normalize conversations about HIV in ways that were almost unimaginable in the early 1990s. At 66, Magic Johnson represents not a tragic ending but a rare example of a global sports icon who successfully redefined his purpose beyond athletics, transforming personal adversity into long-term leadership across business, health advocacy, and community development. And his legacy continues to grow not because of suffering, but because of sustained influence, resilience, and the ability to turn a moment of crisis into decades of meaningful impact that extend far beyond the basketball court.